Everybody says they want more sales, but most people do not actually have a sales system. They have a revenue goal, they have social media, they have some leads, maybe they have a few sales calls or referrals, maybe they host a webinar every once in a while, but they have not actually worked backwards from the number they want to hit and figured out exactly what has to happen to get them there. And that is what I want to tell you today and to show you step by step. Because if you know your goal, you can know how many sales you need, you can know how many qualified leads you need, you can know how many applications you need, and then you can know how many conversations you need so that you can build a daily system that actually feeds the funnel. So today I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer your sales goal, how to know if your numbers actually make sense, and the exact daily marketing method I use called the 3-10-10-3 to keep the top of the funnel full. And then I want to show you the 2 funnels I believe every service-based business, entrepreneur, content creator, anybody selling their personal brand or their products, this is what every single one of you needs. Because if you are doing all this work on social media, but you have no way to get people off social media and into your own system, you are still on the hamster wheel hustle. So let's build the whole thing. Hi, my name is Tiana Smith with the 7-Figure Club. For more than 2 decades, I have helped entrepreneurs build brands, create scalable businesses, and generate millions of dollars through marketing funnels and sales systems. I have worked with tens of thousands of business owners, and one thing I see over and over again is this. People are working hard. They're posting, they're creating, they're following up, they're trying different offers, they're doing a lot of things, but they are not working from the numbers. They will say something like, I want a 50K month. I want a 100K month. I want more clients. Okay, but how many clients? How many applications? How many sales calls? How many qualified opportunities? What is your conversion rate? How many people need to enter the top of your funnel for the math to actually math? Because once you understand these numbers, sales stop feeling so random. You stop waking up every day saying, I need money. And you start saying, I need to execute the activity that creates the number. And that is a huge difference. And by the way, I am not talking about creating some giant, complicated sales department. In fact, I'll tell you right now, when clients work with me and our team, they actually simplify everything. You can do this as a solopreneur. You can do it as a small team. You can build this very simply, but you have to know what the system is. So number 1, let's start with your sales goal. The first thing you need to know is your actual sales goal. So let's say your goal is $50,000 this month. Great. Now we need to know, what are you selling? Let's say your core offer is $10,000. And just side note right here, you really need to have 1 or 2 main offers. If you're going to go and be like, I've got 7 different offers or things like that. Let's say your goal is $50,000 this month. Awesome. But what are you selling? Let's say your core offer is $10,000. That means you need 5 sales. That is your first number. And side note right here, please do not show me 7 different offers to add up to $50,000. That is where you are losing strength and you're losing focus. You really want to hone in on one main offer. Let's say it's $10,000. Ideally, you want a $20,000 offer, and that $10K is your downsell. So between those 2 numbers, you only need 3 to 5 sales a month. So that's when you ask, how am I going to make $50,000? You can ask a much more useful question. What does it take for me to make 5 sales? That is something we can actually solve. And this is where I think a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong. They set the big number, they write it on the vision board, they put it in their planner, but they never reverse engineer the sales activity underneath it. And a goal without that activity underneath it is truly just a wish. So number 2, let's know how many qualified leads you actually need, okay? So now we're gonna take that 5 sale goal and work backwards. Let's say you know that when you are talking to a truly qualified prospect, you close approximately 50%. Number 2, this is where you need to know how many qualified leads you actually need. So now we're gonna take that 5 sale goal and work backwards. So let's say you know that when you're talking to a truly qualified prospect, you close approximately 50%, okay? That means if you need 5 sales, you need about 10 qualified sales opportunities, and now we're starting to get somewhere. Not everybody who raises their hand is actually qualified. So let's say it historically takes this, 20 applications to get 10 qualified leads, meaning people that are filling out your qualification quiz, your application, maybe only half of them are actually qualified to get on a sales call with you or your team, okay? So now if you close 50% of those qualified leads, 10 qualified leads turns into 5 sales. So now your sales mess starts to look like this: 20 applications, 10 qualified leads, 5 sales can be $50,000. But here's the deal, and we're going to talk about this as we go on. We do need to also ask the question, well, how do we get 20 applications? But the goal is not vague anymore. It is not, I need $50,000. It is, I need 20 applications that create 10 qualified opportunities that create 5 sales. Now that is a sales system, okay? Now let's keep going. Part 3, you need to know your conversion rate. This is where knowing your conversion rate matters so much, because maybe you are closing 50% of qualified sales calls. That's great. But if you only have 2 qualified calls on your calendar this month, you are still not going to hit the number. At the most, you might hit 1 sale. So now you're 40K short of your goal. You do not have a sales closing problem. You have a volume and audience problem. On the other hand, maybe you have 20 qualified people getting on calls with you and only 1 person buys. Well, now we have a different problem. That could be your sales process, your offer, your pricing, your positioning, the quality of the lead. But the point is, once you know the numbers, then you have data, and now you know where to fix the problem, okay? So I need more sales is not specific enough, but I need 20 applications this month and I only have 6, that is specific, okay? Or I have 10 qualified sales calls, but I'm only closing 10%. That is also specific. Specific problems can get fixed. Vague problems just create panic. So part 4, you need to know your main conversion event. Okay, this is what I mean. The next thing you need to know is, how are you actually converting people? Is it through one-on-one sales calls? Is it through a webinar? Is it through a live event? Is it through a strategy session? Is it direct purchase? You need to know the math around that conversion event. If you're doing these sales calls, how many applications become calls? How many calls are qualified? How many people actually show up? How many qualified calls become buyers? If you're doing webinars, questions to ask would be, how many people register? How many people attend? How many people stay through the pitch? How many apply? How many buy? Whatever your model is, you need to understand the journey from lead, opportunity, sale. And as you can see, it's different depending on which way you are selling. But if you know that information, again, you can reverse engineer everything else. All right, so let's talk about, how do we fill the top of the funnel? And this is where people usually start getting very vague. Okay, they say post more, network more, build relationships, grow your audience, run ads. Sure, there are a lot of ways to get leads. You can run ads, you can do webinars, you can go on podcasts, you can network in person. That's one of my least favorite ones. You can build referral relationships. You can grow YouTube. You can do email. You can host events, and you can do all of those things. But I do not want to give you 20 random ideas and leave you thinking, okay, but what do I actually do tomorrow morning? So I want to give you my favorite and proven daily habit that has personally closed millions of dollars for me. One of our #1 converting methods is something I have used and taught for years, and it's also in my Freedom Planner. I call it the 3-10-10-3, and it is very simple. So let's talk about it. The first 3 posts a day. And just so you know, this is going to be a freebie that you can have in my description, and I list all this out in a printable PDF and video training. The first 3 is the 3 posts a day. So the first number in my sequence is 3. Every day, I want you putting out 1 video and 2 branded posts, and that stands for 3 posts a day. Okay, let's talk about it. Why 1 video? Because video lets people hear you, see you, understand how you think, understand your personality, understand your expertise, and video builds trust faster. Side note here, do not use AI video. I don't believe in it. I do not think it's authentic. It is proven that it is creating trust issues in buyers. I know there's a lot of people out there saying you can just do that. I will not stand behind that. I'm not going to outsource or fake my voice, my video, myself, my essence. So the videos, when I'm talking about the videos, is you showing up on camera. You can use AI to edit it potentially, but do not use a fake AI person of yourself. Video builds trust faster. Then your other two branded posts reinforce the message. Those can be an educational post, a client win, a story, a quote, a behind the scenes moment, a tip, a call to action. And again, just so you know, you are going to get access to this. I have a full printable explaining what this is with a checklist. It's for free in the description, okay? A personal post that still connects back to your brand helps you build that personal brand and builds trust as well. The exact format and post can change. The habit is what matters. 3 pieces of content every day means you are consistently visible. Most social media channels absolutely honor a 3 posts a day, and it's gonna up you in the algorithm, okay? So you're not posting once, disappearing for 4 days, and then wondering why nobody remembers who you are. You are showing up day in, day out, 3 posts a day. And again, side note, if you're like, Tiana, that's a lot. Okay, do you want to be the top 0.02% of women that ever hit 7 figures? Do you want to be the top 10% that hit 6 figures? So yeah, do the thing that 90%, 99.8% of people won't do, and that's going to be posting every single day, let alone 3 times a day, let alone video. So if you want to be in that top echelon of people that are truly seeking excellence and you're truly serious about your brand and your business, do the thing that nobody else can do for you, which is get on camera. You can get help with some of your posts from your team or hiring companies like myself, but nobody can replace you getting on camera. All right, let's talk about the second number, which is 10. So it's 10 new connections a day. The next number is 10 new connections every day. This can be Facebook friend requests, LinkedIn connections, Instagram follows, wherever your ideal clients are. And I'm not telling you to randomly add 10 people. Be strategic. Who looks like your ideal client? Are they posting regularly? Are they showing up online? Who is already talking about the problem that you solve? Who is connected to people you want to know? Who is engaging with accounts in your industry? Add those 10 people every day. If you do that 5 days a week, that is roughly 50 new connections a week. Let alone, I teach when you sign up for this, you should be doing it every single day for 30 days. So now you're talking about 300 new connections a month. Now, your audience is not growing only because you hope the algorithm is kind to you. That's what the posts are doing. Now you're actively building your network. And I can tell you for a fact, for myself and my clients, that this approach works. All right, let's go to this third number, which is another 10. Now, this 10 stands for 10 DMs, direct messages through social media every single day. And I need to be very clear here. I do not mean 10 spammy pitches. No. Do not send something like, hey girl, I love your page. Do you want coaching? We're not asking anything. You want to lead with connection. Even if some people still won't answer it, that's okay. You're still just going to do your best to create a conversation. You can reach out to someone who followed you, someone who accepted your friend request, someone who commented on your content, someone who watched your story, someone you met at an event. All those are people raising their hand that they're at least interested in you. It could also be a past lead, a past client, someone who downloaded your free resource, someone who is already engaged with people. You want to talk to people. You want to build real relationships and ask what they're working on. Pay attention. Side note here, there's a great book I recommend. It's called, there's 2. One is called The Gift. One of the authors is called Matthew Ferry, and the other one is called The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. Now, the reason I like these books, and they're short, you can read them in a day, is they lead with value first. There's some other marketing trends that are called things like permission-based marketing, where you ask permission, but I really like this very simple go-giver approach, meaning, let's say you're DMing somebody and you ask what they're working on, and let's say they're like, oh, well, I'm having an event this week and there's somebody that I'm looking for some caterer. And let's say you know a caterer, you're in that local area. Without asking for anything in return, just send them the caterer. Then you're helping them and you're helping the caterer's business. When you lead with this constant go-giver approach, number one, most people are not going to give the way you're giving. That's okay. What you're doing is you're creating non-resistance between giving value. And there's 2 things that happen. Number one, you can feel really good about all your DMs because you know that you're coming to the table, not asking for a sale, but truly just DMing people and creating relational connections. Now, the second part of that is what naturally happens when you are authentic about creating relational connections is that people like you and the right people like you. Not everybody's going to like everybody, okay, of course. So what has happened for me by creating these day in, day out relational connections for 15 years through social media and longer is I have closed endorsement deals with multiple large companies because I essentially posted videos, tagged the company, they reached out to me. Super cool. 2, I've been invited to speak at conferences, to sing at different events, to get paid for different things. People have referred business to me even without working with me because they see my content and maybe they weren't a good fit, but they thought of somebody else. Just a few weeks ago, we had a 100K invoice that didn't end up working out at this time, but they asked for our largest package that we have because of a referral from somebody else who at that time had not even bought from me. So I'm telling you over and over again, and this is the exact approach I follow, okay? You want to look for the people who actually have the problem you solve, because conversations create opportunities. And if you're never having conversations, you're making sales a lot harder than it needs to be. Okay? Essentially, at its core, sales is solving a problem. And you have to be present online, especially if you're not hosting events or going to events. If a lot of people that I work with are online entrepreneurs, then if you're not showing up online through posting and through DMs, how are they ever going to find you? Okay, part 9. The final 3 of the 3-10-10-3. Sales DMs or sales calls or texts. This is the direct sales ask, okay? So the original 10 that we just talked about, the DMs, that is just connection. But now we do need to get specific. We need to get to the number most business owners skip, okay? 3 direct sales activities and asks every single day. This is what this could look like. It could be 3 sales DMs that you actually then find people from the past or people in Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups. They're looking for what you do, and you're literally going to DM them, whether you have a relationship or not. And you are going to say, hey, I saw your post. I saw you're looking for this. Would you like info on what I do? I think I could help. So again, we're still not spamming. You're still looking for those people who they have the problem, you want to solve it. It could also be 3 invitations to apply, okay? So everything needs to go to a sale though. It could either be apply or buy, okay? 3 follow-ups with warm prospects would also count. So let's say you went back through your old applications and you did 3 follow-ups, you texted them, you called them, you DM'd them, maybe all 3. Get radical, okay? These are 3 people you directly asked to take the next step. Again, with all of this, you don't know if somebody's going to say yes or no. So the thing with sales is you just have to control the controllables. And again, that's why I'm like giving you guys the gift on controlling the controllables. And there's a story that I'll share right now that was shared with me from a millionaire mentor a few years ago. And I put it up down here in our office space. I teach it to my team, and it's called Flipping Rocks, okay? So if you want to write that down, memorize it, say it right now, Flipping Rocks. And this is the premise of sales. Let's pretend you're standing beside somebody who you trust, okay? And they've told you that you're like looking outside, there's like this glass sliding door, and you're in a desert, and there's all these rocks outside. If you've ever been to a desert or look up a nice visual, you'll know that there's just a lot of rocks in the desert. This is called flip the rocks or flipping the rocks, okay? So let me explain what I mean. So I want you to pretend like you are in this gorgeous house and it's in the desert, okay? So if you've ever been somewhere like Arizona or Nevada or even California or anywhere else in the world that might have some deserts, like Rocky Desert, okay? You're standing in this gorgeous house. You're standing right beside somebody that you trust with all your heart. And this person has told you, you're looking out back into this backyard, and it's a desert backyard. So it's a beautiful desert, but it's a desert with lots and lots of rocks. And they're going to tell you this. They're going to say, hey, your name. Back here, I've put $100,000 underneath 10 rocks. And you're not going to get the $1 million until you find all 10 rocks with the $100,000 underneath it. And you have 30 days to find it. Or let's even say 90 days. You're like living there. It doesn't really matter the time. Really, it doesn't. And they're like, once you find all 10 rocks, you get your $1 million. Okay, so I want to ask you a question. Let's say you guys have a nice dinner together. You get up the next day, you know they're telling the truth, and you go out and you start flipping rocks. You have coffee, you have breakfast, and you're flipping rocks. If you flip 20 rocks and there's still not $100,000, would you stop? Or would you keep going? Okay, and let's say you do that for 3 days in a row. You're just getting up, you're getting down, you go out there. Okay, let's say by day 7, you really check in. Your person is like, yeah, they're out there. You just have to keep flipping rocks. So my question to you is, if you followed a method like this for 30 days, you're flipping rocks. You're saying, I'm going to go control the controllables, okay? I'm going to post amazing content. I'm going to go and DM 10 people. I'm going to add 10 new connections. I'm going to DM 3 people specifically, or text or call 3 people. They could be from Yelp. They could be just cold leads. They could be anybody, but I'm going to follow this for 30 days. I will tell you, I've never had somebody follow this for exactly 30 days who didn't get booked out. Never. When they don't is when they skip a step. So the other part of this is that there are steps sometimes you have to take. So back to the story of the flipping rocks is, if you got to day 10 and all of a sudden you found $100,000, would you get excited? Would you be like, oh my goodness, like there's got to be 9 others? But let's say that it took you a full year to flip enough rocks. Would you be disappointed, like, I can't believe it took me a year to make $1 million? Or would you be like, that was harder, that was longer, that was more annoying, that was hotter than I could have imagined, but I'm so glad I did it, and I'm so glad I stuck it out. Number one, because I finished the thing I said I was going to do. I proved to myself I could do it. You then have trust with your friend, your person, but ultimately you have trust with yourself because you controlled the controllables. You didn't give up when the weather was bad. You didn't give up when you were sad. You just got up and you flipped rocks, because every flipped rock is a new opportunity to your $100,000 and to ultimately your $1 million. And it's the same with this. These posts, the DMs, the messages, the ads, people are rocks, so to speak, until they put money down. Then they are your clients, your customers, and then you can put the care into them. Until somebody has given you the money and exchanged it, there's not these emotional connections to people, the storytelling. And the thing that I see people really get off on their sales journey, especially females, so I want to talk directly to females, is stop being attached to people that have not given you any money. And it doesn't matter who they are, unless you flip the rock and there's at least some money there, whether it's a low ticket sale or whether it's a high ticket sale. They have to prove to you that they're going to go on this journey with you. So keep flipping rocks. Now let's talk about the difference between sales and marketing, because there is a difference between marketing and sales. Posting is marketing, networking is marketing, having conversations is relationship building. But at some point, somebody actually has to say, would you like to take the next step? And that's sales, okay? So your daily method is this: 3 posts, 10 new connections, 10 DMs, and 3 sales actions. That is the 3-10-10-3. All right. So now let's talk about, how do you put all this together day in, day out? Okay. So I call this the daily power hour. And I really like to do this first thing in the morning. Whenever you get in, you're going to put your business first. Okay. And the best part, it does not need to take your entire day. As mentioned, I like to do this in 1 hour. Put a timer on your phone, block out the first hour of the day, put it on repeat on your Google Cal or whatever calendar you use. So for example, this is what my routine typically looks like. Every morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., before client work, before meetings, before you get buried in email, before you start reacting to everybody else, do your revenue producing activity first. So maybe the hour looks something like this for you. 9 to 9:15, you're going to get your posts live or scheduled. 9:15 to 9:25, make your 10 new connections, just clickety click click. 9:25 to 9:45, send your 10 DMs and continue conversations. And 9:45 to 10, you're going to send those 3 sales messages, okay? And then you can go do the rest of your day, okay? The point is, you've already done something that creates tomorrow's pipelines. And side note, you're doing something that almost nobody in the world is gonna do. I don't get it. People say they want money, but they're not willing to do these things. Get uncomfortable, get on camera, get in front of people, stop being afraid of rejection. It's a no until it's a yes. Like if you don't ask, it's a no. But if you ask, it could be a no, but it could also be a yes. You are not waiting until 4:30 in the afternoon or 7:30 at night, realizing you did client work all day and suddenly panicking because you did nothing to generate new business. Instead, you're going to learn the skill set of putting yourself and your business first thing in the morning. All right, so let's talk about what can happen over 30 days. And this is where the numbers get really interesting and exciting. Do not look at one day of the 3, 10, 10, 3. Look at 30 days. Again, you're going to have this full calendar today, okay? If you do it 5 days a week for 4 weeks, you could have roughly 60 pieces of content, 200 new connections, 200 direct conversations, and 60 direct sales activities where you ask for a sale. That is a completely different business than somebody who posts twice a week and just waits. And the biggest thing is, these are activities you control. You cannot control whether someone purchases today, but you can control whether you showed up. You can control whether you added new people to your network. You can control whether you started conversations, and you can control whether you actually made offers. And I love this quote by Jim Rohn. He says, "Do not judge your day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." And so again, once again, we are focusing on controlling the controllables. All right, so let's talk about connecting the daily method to the sales goal. Now let's connect all this back to our original 50K example back in the beginning. Remember, we need 5 sales. At a 50% close rate, we need 10 qualified leads. And maybe it takes 20 applications to get those 10 qualified leads. Now imagine your 3, 10, 10, 3 creates 200 conversations per month. If just 10% of those conversations turn into applications, that gives you those 20 applications. Then if half are qualified, you've got your 10 qualified leads. And if you close 50%, that is 5 sales. At $10,000 each, that is $50,000. So, and let me talk about this for a second. That's without any ads. That's without boosting any posts. That's without placing any ads. Can you imagine if you actually also had an awesome ads team like us or whoever you're using or yourself, how you could really bolster those numbers? But this is specifically made. If you said, I need to make $10,000 this month, I need to make $50,000, I need to pay some bills, I need to pay my kids' car payment, I need to pay my car payment, my mortgage, whatever your bill is, whatever your goal is, whatever your vacation is, you could open this up and commit to 30 days and go do this thing. And this is, again, what it would look like. 200 conversations, 20 applications, 10 qualified leads, 5 sales, $50,000. Now you understand what I mean when I say sales is math plus activity. It is not magic. Okay? So now let's talk about troubleshooting. How can you find the bottleneck? And this is another reason I love my system. Once you're doing the activity consistently, you can actually diagnose what is wrong. If you're posting 3 times a day and nobody is engaging, let's improve the content or messaging. If you're making connections but nobody is responding, let's look at who you are connecting with. If you're starting 200 conversations but nobody applies, we need to look at how you're transitioning from conversation into invitation. And if people are applying but nobody is qualified, we may have a targeting problem. If qualified people are getting on calls but they're not buying, now we work on your sales process or your sales team. This is so much better than changing your entire business and offers again because you had 3 slow days or even 3 slow weeks. You can track the numbers, find the bottleneck, and fix the actual problem. All right, so look, I have a free 30-day checklist for you. I've talked about it multiple times. I use it myself. We use it for my team. I created it just for me, and now it's gone viral, and there's thousands and thousands of people using it. All right, so I have a free 30-day checklist for you, and I do not want you trying to remember all of this, okay? So I created this free 30-day 3-10-10-3 marketing checklist and calendar. You can print it out, keep it next to your desk, put it up on a bulletin board, and with it, I also created a free video training that goes along with it. The link is in the description below. Print it out, put it next to your computer. If you have a team, give it to your team, and every day check it off. 3 posts, 10 connections, 10 DMs, 3 sales actions. But just so you know, you cannot get your check mark, your sticker, whatever you're doing, unless you do all 3 of those things. Okay, now the goal is that you do not miss any days because the point of this is to create a true habit, is to keep moving forward. And ideally, you never stop, okay? The power is not in doing it once. The power is in doing this consistently. So let's talk about how social media alone is still a hamster wheel hustle though, okay? So now here's the piece I do not want you to miss, because you could do everything I just taught you. You could post 3 times a day, make 10 connections, send 10 DMs, do your 3 sales actions. But if all those people stay on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever social media platform you're using, you are still on the hamster wheel hustle. because tomorrow you have to start all over again. And you do not own that audience. You do not control the platform. You could get kicked out. You could get hacked. All those things have happened to me. And you do not control the algorithm, which is constantly changing. Okay? So once again, I'm not saying don't do this. We do this. But you need to have a way to move people off social media and into a system you actually own. And this is where your funnels come in. All right? So let's talk about the 2 funnels that every single person needs, especially if you're selling high ticket versus just selling a digital product or an automated sale, okay? You need 2 funnels. For most service businesses or coaches, consultant, course creators, really any online entrepreneur that I've worked with, I really believe you need at least 2 simple funnels. Not 20, not 30, 2. The first one and the most important one is your free offer funnel, okay? This is the easy yes. Not everyone you talk to is ready to apply or buy. Not everyone is ready to jump on a sales call, and that's okay. Give them another way into your world, into your ecosystem. Maybe it's a checklist, a guide, a planner, a training, a resource, something truly useful and valuable. Something that solves a small problem and helps them get a quick win. In my case, one of those free offers is this 30-day 3-10-10-3 marketing checklist and video training, okay? You put in your information or they put it into your world, and now they are no longer just a follower, they're a lead. They're in your CRM, they are on your email and text list, and you can continue nurturing them. You can continue helping them. You can invite them to future opportunities or events, and now your audience starts becoming an asset you own. So we're not even talking today about emailing, texting your list, but that is a part of the daily and weekly marketing method once you move past just the daily social media marketing, okay? So the second funnel is your sales qualification funnel, or SQF as I call it for short. And this is for people who are actually raising their hand and saying, I'm interested. Again, that's a sales qualification funnel or an application funnel, okay? It could also be a quiz funnel. This is another place I see people losing leads, okay? Somebody sends you a DM and says, hey, I'm interested in working with you. And then you spend the next 40 messages trying to qualify them inside Instagram. No. Move them into your system. Your response can be very simple. Absolutely. The next step is to fill out our quick application so we can learn a little more about your business and see if we are a good fit. And side note, this is not just for businesses. It can be for anybody. It could be therapists. It could be a coach. It could be whatever person you're serving. You need to see if they're qualified emotionally, time-wise, and financially. So you send them the application. Now you can collect the information you need. What do they want? What are they struggling with? What have they tried? What is their business doing now? What are they trying to accomplish? Are they qualified for your offer? Okay. Then the right people move into a sales conversation. And that makes the whole process clean, simple, and short. Okay. So now what if they are not ready to apply? Okay. This is where these 2 funnels work together like peanut butter and jelly. Let's say somebody says, I'm interested, but I'm not quite ready for a call. Okay, great. You don't have to push them. Just say, totally understand. I actually have a free training that can help you get started. Want me to send that to you? And then you send them your freebie. Now they are still in your world. They're getting the training. They're getting value. They can receive follow-up. They can continue seeing your content. And when they're ready, the application is there. And now you have a very simple sales flow. Someone finds you on social, you start a conversation. If they're ready, send them to the application. If they're not ready, send them to the free resource. And either way, they're on your email list, okay? But you always want to give people a next step. All right, so this is how you get off the social media hamster wheel hustle and get people onto your email list, which is your business asset. And this is the difference between using social media as your whole sales strategy and using social media as the front end of a real sales system. Social media is amazing. It creates visibility, connections, conversations, but your funnels create leads, systems, applications, data, follow-up, sales opportunities, and eventually clients. So instead of starting from 0 every morning, your activity starts compounding. Every person you move into your system becomes part of an audience you can continue talking to, and that is what you want. Now here's where Go High Level fits into this, okay? If you've not heard of Go High Level, I'll explain a little bit about it today. This is why Go High Level is my #1 software recommendation for building this whole system. Because I do not want you managing your website in one place, your funnels in another place, your forms elsewhere, your course elsewhere, your CRM somewhere, your scheduling app somewhere else. your social media scheduler in another program, your DMs, who knows where, and then trying to remember where every lead is. That's what feels overwhelming, and it is chaos. Go High Level lets you put so much of this into one place. You can build your website. Go High Level lets you put all this into one place. In Go High Level, you can build your website, your free offer funnel, your sales qualification funnel, your application form, your CRM, your sales pipeline, your email and text follow-up, your calendar, your automations. You can schedule social media. You can even do your course and community there. And you can bring conversations and DMs together into one place. So rather than having to open up all your social medias every day, you can literally just open up Go High Level. And because of that, you can now see who came in, who applied, who needs follow-up, who booked, who did not show, who is still in nurture, who is ready for the next step. And that is what I want you thinking about and acting on, okay? No more random tools, no more busy work, one system. So let's put this whole system together, okay? So let me give you the entire framework one more time. You're gonna start with your revenue goal. Then you're gonna figure out how many sales you need, and then how many qualified leads you need, then how many applications, and then your conversion rate. And then every day you're gonna execute the 3-10-10-3. 3 posts, 10 new connections, 10 DMs, 3 sales actions. And every conversation needs to go somewhere. If they're ready, you're gonna send them to your sales qualification funnel. If they're not ready, you're gonna send them to your free offer funnel. And then you're gonna track everything inside your CRM, and then you're gonna track everything inside your CRM. And now you have an actual sales system. So here's what I want you to do next. First, go to the link in my description and grab the free 30-day 3-10-10-3 marketing checklist and video training. Print it out, put it next to your desk, and commit to doing the Power Hour. Every morning, 3 posts, 10 new connections, 10 conversations, 3 sales actions. Side note, put that timer on. See how fast you can truly get it done. And then make sure you are not keeping all of those people trapped on social media. You need your free offer funnel for the people who are not ready yet, and your sales qualification funnel for the people who are ready to explore working with you. And if somebody says they are interested, send them the application. And if they're not ready yet, you're gonna send them your free resource. But always give them a next step. And then you're gonna put the whole system somewhere you can actually manage it, and that's Go High Level, as it's my #1 recommendation. And just so you know, right now in the world, it is #1, okay? So you can build the funnels, the website, you can have your application, you can have your CRM and pipeline, you can schedule your social media, manage conversations, automate it all, book your appointments, and you can see what is happening with your leads in one place, okay? So the 2 free resources are linked below, because at the end of the day, your revenue goal is just the starting point. You need to know the numbers behind it. You need a daily habit that fills the funnel, and you need a system that captures those leads, follows up with them, and moves them toward becoming a paying customer. And that is how you get off the social media hamster wheel hustle. And that is how your marketing and sales start to compound. And that is how you build a sales system that is actually designed to hit your goals. I'll see you in the next episode.